So as I mentioned earlier, David Courtney, he'd been the PA announcer for 18 years, I believe, with the Angels, 22 or 24 years with the LA Kings, and he passed away. And and so the Angels were looking for a replacement. They needed someone, and they didn't want to do the open call where they end up with 2,000 that they got to fish through. And so they wanted to reach out to the local teams and see who was working and what they could find. And so they reached out to AEG, who owns the Kings and the Galaxy, and of course the Kings were also in a similar situation. So they reached out to AEG, to my boss, and he was so gracious. And Danny Zoller, he said, you need to talk to our Galaxy announcer. We like him, and he's a huge Angel fan. He knows all the history, and he'd be the guy to talk to. And so they said, great, we'd love to talk to him. And they asked me to submit a resume and cover letter. And I was extremely excited, and I spent all night crafting this letter, not knowing that it would go anywhere, having no idea if this was, I was going to be one of 200 or what. And they emailed back and said, great, we'll be in touch. And that was it. About a week later, they called me in for a conversation, and they just wanted to get to know me. And after that, they, about a week later, invited me out to Arizona for spring training. And they invited 3 of us out there. We each did 1 game as an audition. And about a week after that, they called and said, we've got some good news and some bad news. What do you want first? And I said, I like to end on a high note, so let's take the bad news first. He said, okay, well, the invoice you submitted for the travel and pay for the spring training game didn't come through. I need you to resubmit it. And I said, okay, so what's the good news? And he says, we'd like to offer you the job as public address announcer for the Angels. And my first reaction was, I said, you lied to me. He said, how's that? I said, you said you had good news. That's amazing news. I mean, I think I can't help but first as a fan just speak to, what an amazing year it's been. 9th American League West championship. And I think there's a lot of similarities to other great runs that we've had. But it's been just a phenomenal year to see this team continue to perform so well. And every time we think, there's something that, we're gonna go down from here, Tyler Skaggs goes down, and Garrett Richards goes down, and they just keep on going. So it's been fun. I don't see any reason why the Angels couldn't, here I am, Homer again, I don't see why they couldn't go all the way. There's all sorts of reasons why I could say they won't, but we've had all of those reasons happening here towards the end of the season, and all they did was get better and better and play stronger and stronger. So do we match up well against some other teams? Not necessarily, but do I think that that's spells the end of us? Absolutely not. I think there's just something about this team. They don't quit, and I know that other teams have that in them as well. But we've lost some major pieces, some key players, and just keep on going. So I'm certainly going to be cheering and hoping for the best. But